Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 36 of the Breakfast Burrito. It has been a long week, folks, and our first ever Monday and Friday, and it is going well. We have a ton to talk about on this episode of the Burrito. We have the living legend, the man, in the van. Are you in the van today?
I am in the van.
He is in the van. His name is Thomas Q. Pease Jr. the Third. What's up, Tommy?
Well, let me tell you something, DJ.
Oh, somebody's a little bit excited about some news. I guess we're not gonna break it, but we're gonna talk about.
Good morning.
Good morning
to you and the Bandito on a sunny yet cold Friday, but it's Happy Friday, so.
It is. It is Happy Friday, and if you can hear that, I don't know if you can hear the squeak. Oh, here he is, the squeaky bandito, Eric McMahon. What's up, Squeaks?
What the? Oh, hello, people. How are you doing today?
Whose house?
Squeaky's house.
Squeaky's house. Boys, we got a lot to talk about. Starting things off today in batting leadoff, the Loyola Ramblers. Peasy's team is doing it and doing it well. Sister Jean continues on to the Elite Eight. Boys, how we feeling about Loyola?
Hey, listen, I've said it from the beginning. Loyola is back. Loyola is back. It took 33 years to get back, but they're back. And I smell magic.
Are you smelling championship?
I'm telling you what, they looked really good yesterday.
A 1-point win over Nevada, and you're calling championship.
Listen, Nevada has been the comeback team of this NCAA tournament, and they tried last night to do it to Loyola, and it didn't happen. So the 11 seed Loyola is now in the Elite Eight, along with two other 9 seeds. It's just been a crazy, crazy March, as we talked about on Monday. But I'm all in on the Sister Jean and Loyola. I'm on the bandwagon. Listen, I called it from the beginning.
You did. Are you rambling for the Ramblers? Is that what's happening right now?
Just like the style of basketball they play. Love it.
I dig it. I dig it. Squeaks, what's your feeling about Sister Jean and Loyola?
Let's let him get to the Final Four first, and then we'll start talking about how they reasonably can win a championship.
Oh, he calls the Final Four.
I said let's wait for them. Let's wait for them to get to the Final Four.
Are you mad about something this morning? I feel like there's a little bit of angst over on your side.
No, I'm not mad about anything. Let's wait for them to do that. I'm not going to say they're going to win a championship. Odds are, but it's heavily against them.
Well, I mean, 7-1, I guess.
I think it's more like 30-1.
Oh. Who do you have winning the championship? And if you say Michigan,
well,
I'm gonna.
I have Michigan winning the championship. Do I think ultimately they're going to win the championship? No, Duke's
going to win it.
That's how this works. That's how this works.
Okay, I can't say anything. I picked Arizona, so my mouth is shut, like firmly shut. As Doug Heffernan would say, shutty. That's the biggest thing. So here's the big thing, guys. Loyola is proving the doubters wrong. They're proving Sister Jean absolutely right. She's calling the shots better than Babe Ruth did back in the day. And they might have had a relationship given the timeline. But I would say that Loyola is the real deal, man. I made fun of Tommy for picking Loyola in round 1. They shut me up then. They shut me up last night when they proved that they truly are in the Elite Eight. So, guys, I think it's going to happen. I think it's the story. I think Loyola will be national champions. The kiss of death right there. Boom.
I can't believe you just said that Babe Ruth is slamming Sister Jean back in the day.
Yeah, he just did.
I didn't say anything like that. I said there might have been a relationship given the timeline. Draw your own conclusions. Did you guys happen to watch the Kentucky game last night versus Kansas State?
I did not. The only two games that I watched was the Loyola game on replay, and then I watched the Gonzaga-Florida State game live.
How about Florida State? Not the Florida State beat Gonzaga, correct?
Correct. By 15.
I mean, it didn't even feel like 15. I felt like, I mean, there was a couple runs that Gonzaga had, but it felt like Florida State had control from the tip-off. Florida
State way too athletic for Gonzaga. Florida State played really good basketball last night, with a ton of talent in foul trouble. But here's the thing about Florida State: they're rolling 12 deep on that team. They can roll 12 guys out there that are going to get the job done, and that speaks dividends for what kind of program they're building down in Florida State. My wife is a huge Florida State fan, so we definitely watched that game together. But it just wasn't Gonzaga's night, and Florida State had their number pretty much that entire game. I mean, even though Gonzaga cut it, a few times, I still felt like Florida State was in control of that game the entire time.
You know what impressed me the most? Those
What's
those black unis, baby. Those were
I love it.
Awesome. Those were awesome. I sat there and I was like, wow, I didn't even know who was playing, but I dug the black unis, just like I do when they were the all black unis on the football field. That black, that gold, and that, I don't even know what you call it, maroon or burgundy. I mean, it's just
Garnet.
It's just pretty.
Garnet and gold. Garnet and gold.
Everybody's got a different freaking name for red. Scarlet, garnet, varsity, cardinal. I mean, it's red. It's red.
There's differences.
You sound like my wife when we were painting the living room. There's differences. Eggshell white and regular white is the same. False.
They are not the same.
They're not the same.
You guys, that's
you lose. You lose this one.
You guys are nuts. Crazy. Getting back to the Kentucky game, I don't know if you guys heard this or not. Kentucky, after losing to Kansas State last night, just walked off the court, did not shake hands with the victors, K-State. And after they were talking about it in the post-game interview, Coach Cal said, they were celebrating and we didn't want to, disrupt them. I'm happy for them. So we just decided to walk off the court. If you go ahead and look at the replay, not exactly how it shook out. There was some celebration, but Kansas State went to line up following their short-lived celebration, and Kentucky was already in the locker room. Obviously, we talk about sportsmanship a lot. We talk about doing the right thing. Not to get too preachy, but guys, on a national stage like that, with the Sweet 16, with the Elite Eight on the line, you got to shake hands. Coach Cal, you know better than this. You've been around the block. Don't be a douche. Shake the other team's hands. If nothing else, shake the coach's hand for defeating you. Because, there were teams talking about Kentucky taking the championship again. Coach Cal addressed it all week, saying, don't drink the poison, quote. And I think that when you look at something like this, even though it's not a big deal, it's kind of a big deal because you're making an impression not only on your school, but on other schools as well. Thoughts?
Well, I think all those Kentucky one-and-doners probably just couldn't wait to get into the locker room to declare their eligibility for the NBA draft.
Do you think they tweeted it out before they even got to the locker room, before they got on the plane?
Oh, yeah. For sure.
If I have the opportunity to speak freely on him,
go ahead.
On Cal,
yep.
Are you shocked? He's a scumbag. That's what he does. He actually champions that his kids graduate. If you watch the sham 30 on 30 30 for 30 they did on him. He actually champions his kids going to the draft instead of going to college and getting a so-called education. He actually champions. He's a scumbag.
When you talk about champion, what do you mean by that?
That he actually champions it. Like, he's actually proud of it. These kids go there for 1 year and goes to the NBA. He's proud of that.
Well, he's the best at the one and done. If you look at it.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. Coach K's beat him on that.
Well, I think Coach K has a lot more guys that stick around. I think Calipari is the guy that's known for the one and done because he's basically recruiting a new team every year.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Coach K is better at it than him because he's getting the top guys now. It's not even Coach K anymore.
Are you just talking about the last couple of years? I mean, Duke's got an unbelievable class coming up, obviously with Tommy's boyfriend, Zion Williamson.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big. But my point is, in order to be the king of the one and dones, you've got to be able to replace your entire team time and time again, and that's Calipari. I mean, you've got Grayson Allen that's been part of the Duke lineup for the last 4 years. So you can't be the king of one and dones if you're not replacing all 5 of your starters every year.
Right, but in the same time frame, at the same time, throughout the last 4 years,
I think we lost Eric. We lost the squeaky bandito.
He's out.
What do you mean?
Oh, there he is. You cut out.
Where did you go?
Oh, I've been here. I've been here. I don't know. I've been talking.
I think you time traveled, my friend.
Must have. I said Coach K's recruited the #1 kid in the country.
Well, yeah, you could recruit the #1 kid in the country. That doesn't make you the king of one and dones.
I'd say that makes you the king of one and dones, that you're able to get the top kid in the country. It don't matter. I'm just going to recruit the next top kid. That's
top 3 of the top 5 100.
Right.
That's this year. That's this year.
But historically, I think what DJ's trying to say, just historically, at least in the last 10 years, Kentucky is one and done. I mean, they are a one and done school.
It is, yeah. It is almost on your scholarship that you get a 1-year scholarship, and it's we'll see you later. You know what I mean? Transfer or go to the NBA draft. We're moving on with or without you.
So my question is that they're getting all these one and dones, and it's supposed to hurt your progress rate and get you kicked out of the NCAA tournament, which happened to UConn a couple years ago, by the way. How does it not punish Kentucky for doing it? Because that's all the recruiting.
Well, eventually the one and dones is going to be over. I firmly believe that. I think the one and done rule was stupid to begin with. I know what they were trying to do, but it has become the exception to the rule. As you know, when you look at it, because kids don't care what their grades are. After a year in college, it's not going to make or break you. And you're not getting a lot of kids going back to school the way that's, the NCAA thought was going to happen. The NBA knew this was going to happen. The NBA knows they 100% knew that it gives them a year to hype up basically a minor league system that they don't have to pay for. And it's free publicity. It's free PR. And the NCAA has to do all the work, and they get none of the credit besides March Madness. Because when you look at teams, what sells March Madness isn't teams like Duke, isn't teams like North Carolina, isn't these teams. What sells March Madness, boys? Loyola. It's the mid-majors that are making these upsets. Because if we just did the best 64 teams or whatever it is in the tournament, nobody would. I mean, people would watch and get okay ratings, but it wouldn't get near the ratings that it gets right now.
You're exactly right. And then, Loyola is the heartbeat of America right now. There's a ton of people who might mildly follow NCAA basketball who are on this Loyola train. They want to see this happen. I mean, that's why people are watching. They want to see Loyola, Chicago outdo the big dogs, Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, Arizona, Villanova, Virginia, all these guys, all these big time schools who have been at the top of the top 25 all year. And then you got little Loyola, Chicago and Sister Jean just marching their way through now into the final 8 teams in the NCAA tournament. So this is the excitement that the NCAA wants. These are the kind of teams that the NCAA wants people to get behind because it makes March Madness great. Here's the thing too, that the great thing, like in 20 years from now, I promise you'll be like, wow, Tommy was right again. The NCAA tournament can propel these schools into mainstream. Prime example is Gonzaga. In '99, they made that historic run down to the Elite Eight, and ever since then, Gonzaga has been 20 years, 19 years now, they've been a predominant program in college basketball. And what you're seeing right now with Loyola Chicago, it's going to put Loyola Chicago back on the map to where they were a powerhouse team in the 60s. They're going to be back to that because their recruiting's going to get better. They're going to get top-tier talent. Kids are going to want to go to Loyola Chicago to try to make it another Gonzaga.
It's going to be a basketball school.
It's going to be a basketball school. Their basketball program is going to absolutely thrive from this run to the Elite Eight, and you are going to see it happen for the probably next 10 to 15 years. You're going to see Loyola Chicago will be a small conference powerhouse that will have success in regular season and will have success in tournament runs moving forward. And it's all coming from the run that they're making, the mass media attention they're getting, the publicity they're getting. It's going to happen for that school. So I'm happy for them, and it's going to be exciting to watch. I really, really, really hope they can make it to the Final Four, because if they can do that, then anything can happen. And what a story it would be if little old Loyola Chicago can make it into the Final Four and maybe make a run at a NCAA championship.
I mean, you spoke about Gonzaga and what it did for their program to kind of kick ass and take names in this tournament, but there's one even closer to the vest that we're overlooking. That's Butler. Look what Butler did. Butler became you talk about a powerhouse. They became a powerhouse. They became a talked about name overnight. They're known as a basketball school. They were in the same league as Youngstown State, and they grew out of it. They outgrew their league with, star talent that's now in the NBA. You look at Gordon Hayward, one of the top stars in the NBA. Unfortunately, he got injured this year, the first game, but he's still one of the top stars and premier stars in the association. So when you look at it, I'm with you, Tommy. I think we're going to be looking back 10 years and saying, you remember when nobody knew about Loyola? Remember when nobody knew about this? And they weren't even the best basketball in Chicago, let alone the entire state of Illinois. I mean, that's what you think about. And Loyola is going to be on the map. Think about Duke before Coach K. I don't think there was a rich, upstanding tradition of basketball, but I could be off. But since he's taken over, he's taken a small private school in the University of Duke, and they are the premier basketball program in the United States of America. You can't think of college basketball without thinking of Duke in your top, without being in your top 10, top 5, I would say. Loyola has that chance. They have that opportunity, but can they keep it intact in this day and age of free agency and, going from this school to that school? That's the question.
See, the other part of this, and this is where I don't agree with you guys on this. Do I think it sells part of the tournament that a team like this makes a run like this? Yeah, I think it sells part of the tournament, but I don't think it matters. I really don't, because at the end of the day, you can have your Cinderella story, and it's all nice. And it's a nice media story to write about, but it's the Dukes, it's the Kentuckys, it's the Kansases that write this tournament that people tune in to see. I'd be interested to actually see the ratings of that game last night. I'd be more willing to bet that the Michigan-Texas A&M game is probably a higher rated game than that one, because it doesn't work, because Nevada's a mid-major team too, correct?
Yeah, they're on the border, I would say.
Yeah, they're a mid-major. Yeah, they're Mountain West. It's a mid-major team. So you get that or whatever, but it's not Loyola playing Kentucky. It's not them playing Kansas. It's not them playing Duke. Those ratings would be off the charts, because the highest rated game in the NCAA tournament in history to this day is still Indiana State, Michigan State. And that was the small school that had no chance against the powerhouse. But the small school did have somebody pretty good, by the way.
I think his name was Bird.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah.
I can agree with you because, well, a lot of times you look at these Kansas, you look at Duke, you look at North Carolina, anybody. Their ratings come in mostly because of alumni and because of the following for the school. While I think that in the case of Loyola or Butler or teams like that, you're not going to get the true, like, Michigan fans will tune in to watch this game. You're going to get the casual fan and the guy that just rallies for the upset, the guy that just wants to set the world on fire and watch it burn, because that's in a PR perspective, that's who you want. You want more interest in this tournament from the casual fan, because 90% of the people that actually follow college basketball are going to watch this game or these games no matter what, no matter who's in it. And that's just a fact. That's the same as wrestling. You're going to watch WrestleMania no matter who in the main event, because it's WrestleMania. This is the WrestleMania of college basketball, and they're going after the casual viewer. They're going after my wife because, Loyola Chicago is the underdog, and she just wants to see them because they have a cute mascot. They've got or the Retrievers over at UMBC because they got a puppy for a mascot. That's the viewer, that's the fan they want to bring in, because they're already going to make their money on that 90% that watch college basketball. They want the casual viewer who's going to either bring more money in, bring more ratings in, or utilize, their bank account to watch this tournament from gambling perspective or otherwise. That's who they're shooting for. Make no mistake about it. The NCAA does not care where their viewership comes from, but they absolutely know that they've got to have it associated. They've got to have it compartmentalized, because they need to grow every single year, or else they're going to lose money. That's how it works.
Yeah, because they seem to be losing a whole lot of money, DJ. They turned $1 billion profit last year. They seem to be losing a whole lot of money.
Listen, this is their prize-winning bell cow, right? But it shouldn't be. Yeah, but it shouldn't be. What should be their bell cow?
An actual national championship playoff for football should be. But the only national champ, but the NCAA national champion of football last year was North Dakota State. That lets you know all you need to know right there.
I mean, that's apples and oranges at this point.
No, it isn't, because they don't. No, it isn't, because they don't offer a Division I football championship for the teams that play in bowl games. The teams that play in bowl games govern themselves pretty much, and they just step in when somebody violates a couple rules here and there. That's why I've always said play. Can you imagine if there'd be a 16-team football playoff, how much money that would generate?
But I think you're missing the point. The point would be, we're talking about this, and you have teams like University of Central Florida who claim the national championship and can do that. They can do that because why? Because
there's no champion. There's no champion.
What do you mean there's no champion?
Except for North Dakota State. They're the only champion.
Alabama is the national champion.
For the bowl system, the actual recognized NCAA champion is North Dakota State, because for below the bowls, it's the only one they sponsor. That's what I'm trying to say.
Interesting. I mean, to me, the NCAA basketball tournament far outweighs the national championship. The viewership is probably through the roof because we've turned into a football society. But for basketball, I would imagine that because there's more games, you got to statistically say there's more viewers. But you're also playing a different game. I'd love to get Tommy's thoughts on this, because what you're looking at is a less contact sport, less of a contact sport, obviously, a faster game, so they can do around 64 teams or 68 teams or whatever it is. You'd never be able to do that with football. You'd never be able to do that with baseball. You'd never be able to do it with any sport really other than basketball, because there's only two halves. It goes pretty quickly. And can you imagine when you'd have to start that tournament you'd have to start the tournament in football week 7, week 6?
4 weeks, because you'd only take 16 teams. It takes 64 for baseball.
So, I mean, it'd be interesting to see if it'll ever happen. I think you have to keep football elite, because you either have to go all in or do what they're doing now, because you can maximize your dollars by doing exactly what they're doing. And that's what it's all about. They're getting sponsorships out the wazoo because they don't have to crown a national champion in the, Softex 8-inch memory foam mattress bowl. You know what I mean? They don't have to do that, but they get sponsorship. Somebody's paying to do that because it's worth money to them. It's worth the PR publicity. So I don't think we're far away from seeing the games in the NCAA tournament sponsored individually.
Every game?
So here's if I'm the NCAA right now and I'm saying, how do we possibly make more money? I would do the following. I would look at the map, and I would look at the regions, and I would say the South region brought to you by Chick-fil-A. The North region brought to you by Whataburger or McDonald's, or the Midwest brought to you by McDonald's. The West brought to you by In-N-Out Burger. Companies like that, you could sponsor the regions and make a boatload of money. I'm talking about hundreds of millions of dollars for that sponsorship. Because imagine every time Greg Gumbel has to say the Midwest region, he's got to also say sponsored by McDonald's. That's how you make money. That's how it's done. And I believe that's going to be the next step for the NCAA, because everything's sponsorable. We're seeing it right now. Everything can be sponsored.
I mean, it's money. I mean,
I'm shocked they haven't thought of it yet.
Oh, they will. If there's money to be made, they'll think of it.
The fact that they haven't done this I scratch my head. I'm like, why? I mean, the opportunity is there. It's absolutely there. And instead of, and yes, I guess that would be a sponsorship from every game, because you see that the East or the West is up on the top of the court, and it says Pittsburgh or the East Tournament or whatever it says. Put the logo everywhere. Everywhere that says that, you've got to do it. So I'm shocked it hasn't happened, because the national championship is sponsored. Obviously, I think the Final Four is even sponsored. The Elite Eight, I'm not sure. I'll be interested to watch and see how it goes. But the company that I think has the firmest grasp on the situation is Buffalo Wild Wings. I've seen more Buffalo Wild Wings commercials in the last week and a half than I ever have in my life. They have it figured out.
I gotta ask.
Pizza Hut's a big sponsor too of the NCAA tournament, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
I gotta ask right now though. Are either one of you a fan of B-Dubs?
I don't mind it. I mean, it's not my preferred choice, but I mean, I'd eat there.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't mind it. If somebody says, "Hey, let's meet up at B-Dubs," I'm there. Like, I'm not going to turn down a bucket of wings.
Right. Maybe that's why they got to sponsor it. That's all I'm going to say.
What do you? Without getting into it, what do you mean?
I'm not a fan of the place. I'm not a fan of the place. I don't think the food's that good.
This next segment brought to you by B-Dubs.
Correct. We're brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, yes. I don't think it's that good. I really don't. If I want wings, I'm going to go Quaker Steak, because they are good. But Quaker Steak's not nearly the national chain that Buffalo Wild Wings is.
Exactly. They're regional, and that's why B-Dubs is. I mean, you look in a college town, you can't go there without a B-Dubs, a real college town. And reality tells me that that's who they're trying to attract. Because guess
No,
what?
yeah.
These kids aren't
No,
going
because
to.
Quaker Steak's about in 20 locations.
Well, yeah, they're you sit there and you go, okay, B-dubs, where are you going to meet up at to watch the basketball game? Either in your dorm room where you're going to order wings or you're going to go to B-dubs. The atmosphere is what you're looking at for B-dubs, and I think they sell that very, very well. Like,
and enjoy some of the coldest $9 beers you can get.
wow, really disdain for Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't know if I like this side of the squeaky bandito.
That's not disdain for Buffalo Wild Wings so much. It's pretty much anywhere. Go get some of those cold $9 beers. Yeah.
What are you drinking like at your house? Like Red Dog, or like what are you looking for?
If I have a beer at the house, it's normally a craft beer or something like that. I don't really go out and like drink Budweiser or anything like that.
You're gonna rip on B-dubs for $9 beers, but you're gonna sit there and say,
I'll go out and buy expensive ones, yes, but they do cost $9 at a bar, yes, but
oh my goodness, Squeaks.
They do cost $9 in a bar, but you know.
Listen, I'm as much as the. I don't know.
But I don't do it that much. That's the thing.
Well, they're not after you then. They're not looking at you. And they're probably not saying, how do we go out and get the squeaky bandito with this NCAA ad? Because let's face it, boys, we're a little bit older than the demographic they're looking to bring in. They're looking for the chuggers of Bud Light or Natty Light that are going to spend $70 not blink an eye, because that's, 90% of it's on beer and 10% of it's on their wings. That's who they're looking for.
Yes, because I don't turn on TV and see a Dilly Dilly commercial every 5 seconds.
Are you against Bud Light too?
I don't like Bud Light, but I'm not against the marketing program. It's a good marketing program, but I'm just saying, you turn on TV and see Dilly Dilly. I mean, you just do.
Peasy.
Bud Light's always been good at marketing.
We take 3 days off, and the Bandito comes back with a vengeance. He's after Bud Light. He's after freaking B-dubs. He's going after corporate America.
He's not in a good mood today.
He's a pissy bandito right now.
The pissy bandito.
I'm all right. No, I'm just.
I think he needs a little bit of sunlight or something.
We need warm weather is what we need. If we want to go
you ain't kidding.
That. We need warm weather.
You ain't kidding.
All right, so while we're getting off the topic here, let's talk quickly about the next topic at hand, kicking over to something we've talked about many times before, but I wanted to go over it because, interestingly enough, boys, Saquon Barkley, not exactly the love product that the NFL's, or I guess media more like it, is marketing him to be right now. He's fallen down the draft boards significantly. And you talked about the Niners possibly get him at 9, and I kind of blew it off saying there's no way. Next thing you know, the Colts are trading their picks to the Jets. Guys, who the heck is going to end up with Saquon Barkley, and why is he sliding so far?
Flavor of the month.
Do you think the media hyped him up too much?
Where do they have him sliding to now?
They have him sliding to the bottom 10 or beyond.
Wow. What happened? I missed the boat on this.
So here's what the speculation is. The media was more in love with Saquon Barkley than any team was at the combine. So the media propped him up because of all the records he was breaking and what he was doing. But NFL teams look at him and they say, listen, he's really good at exercising. Great. We have a combine for a reason. And some of the NFL experts are actually talking about putting more stock into the tests that they have off the field. What is it, the Wonderlic test that they have?
My God.
Then for on the field. And you know what? One of those teams happens to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you look at some of these championship caliber teams, and they're the ones saying that they put a lot more stock into the off-the-field test than they do on the field.
These are also the same jabronis that have Josh Allen as the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, and if you watch his game tape, it's garbage. I can watch Barkley's game tape and know it's not garbage. That's the one thing that boggles my mind about the NFL. I'll never get that. When what you do on the field, when does that not become important?
Well, I think there's a giant step between college football and NFL football. And everybody's saying that Saquon Barkley is come in and make an impact right away. And I said it from the jump. I don't think that's the case. I think you can get, because picks are commodities now. Picks, and the Cleveland Browns have proved this time and time again. If you don't draft the right person.
On what not to do? On what not to do?
Back 5 years. And in the Browns case, their draft in 1999 has still put them back 3 to 5 years. I don't think they want to do it again. I don't think that I don't think they're going to let, the new management in the front office for the Browns are going to let this happen again. They're starting to get on that right path. And if you draft Saquon Barkley, then you already start who's our number one back. You're paying a guy $6 million a year who you just signed in Carlos Hyde. And Carlos Hyde's got a lot of tread left on the tires. Now, he's always been injury prone. We all know that. But every running back in the NFL, technically, you can say they're injury prone because they're taking the hardest hits. And I'll say it from now until the day the NFL goes away, and I don't think we're that far away from that. Running backs are a dime a dozen. And if you can draft a running back, as Colin Cowherd said, in the 4th round, that's 80% of Saquon Barkley, you just won the draft.
I think the Browns are just afraid it's Trent Richardson 2.0.
That's a great point, too. That is a great point.
A lot of hype surrounding Trent Richardson that year. Yes, a lot of hype.
Yes, but that was no fault of their own. That was no fault of their own.
What do you mean?
If they would have gone back on the board and picked him, he probably was the best player on the board. He never lived up to it. I think part of the reason he never lived up to it was because of Alabama running backs. When has there ever been a guy?
Ingram?
Richardson was his backup. There's always been another guy taking carries at Alabama. It's never been just one guy.
So let's go back to this. I'm trying to go back to the 2012 NFL draft.
Yeah, he was probably the best player on the board. He probably really was. That was the suck for luck draft. That'll help you out.
Yep. No, you're right. You're right. I'm looking at the.
It was him and Robert Griffin. They were the first 2 picks.
Well, they ended up with Griffin. Still.
Yeah, and then they drafted Kirk Cousins in the 4th round. That goes to show you the brilliance of the Redskins.
Hey, they still paid off.
It cost them the franchise, but yeah, they paid off.
So you firmly believe that if the Browns draft Saquon Barkley at 1, they're better off for that than drafting a quarterback?
Well, we're not in the war room. I don't know who they have as their first-rated quarterback. Nobody does. That's the issue here. If their first-rated quarterback is what got leaked earlier, and they say it really is Mason Rudolph, then why are they going to take a quarterback at 1 or 4 when they can end up with him at the top of the 2nd round? Why are they going to do that?
Okay, so right after the Browns took Trent Richardson, Matt Khalil was taken by the Vikings.
He's pretty good.
Pretty okay. Oh, here's another guy that's pretty okay. Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, but
Are you broadcasting live from like a dungeon today, or what's going on? Because we can't.
No, I'm in the school, so I don't know. You keep going out on me too. I don't know why, but
Guys need to be out in the van. You know what I mean? You get good service in the van.
yeah, I can hear you. Yes, you're not going in and out, but I don't know.
So the Browns took Trent Richardson at 3 in the 2012 draft, correct? All right.
Yes.
Here's a guy who went 31st as a running back, who's had a way better career. Even though his career hasn't been all that great, he still had a pretty solid career.
No, he's a second pick.
Doug Martin. Doug Martin had a better career than.
Yes, he did. He absolutely has.
I think Mike Chip had a better career than Trent Richardson did. My God.
I don't think there's.
What did he run for? Less than 3 yards a carry his NFL career? Is that what he ran for?
Well, I mean, you look at the draft and the Browns. I mean, they had 11 picks. Their number 2 selection was Brandon Weeden.
Lamar Miller, 2012 draft, way better career than Trent Richardson.
Name it. I mean, you can.
Robert Turbin, way better career than Trent Richardson. I mean, I'm down in the 130s now.
Yeah,
so here's what you're looking at, okay? Here's what you're looking at for the Browns. This is 2012. The Browns draft Trent Richardson at 3. The next running back comes off the board at 31.
Doug Martin.
At Doug Martin. And then they go on a little bit of a run, I guess you could say. David Wilson comes off the board right after that by the Giants. We all know how that ended. With injury, correct?
Good at first, but not well for him.
And then you don't see another running back until 50, Isaiah Peed, and then you keep going. I mean, and then LaMichael James, the Niners, there's your pick.
Oh, God.
Here's my thing.
Good kick returner that year, though. He was a good kick returner. That was about his NFL role, though.
Running backs are a dime a dozen.
Alfred Morris, late pick in that draft.
Yeah, you can get guys that are running backs in the 4th round, 5th round, 6th round, Mr. Irrelevant even. And they could be NFL studs for 2 to 3 years, and you don't have to waste a first-round draft pick on them. You know what you need with your first-round draft picks? Quarterbacks, linemen. That's what you need. Because the difference in quarterbacks in the NFL between the best quarterback in the NFL and the 32nd best quarterback in the NFL is the difference between winning a championship and being 0-16. Same thing with linemen. If you've got a great line, you're going to be set. You're at least going to the playoffs. If you've got a terrible line, guess what? 0-16.
Yeah, except the Browns probably had 50 in that case because there were probably 20 backups that were better than anything that the Browns had last year. The Patriots traded one of them last year.
The Patriots and they subscribe to the theory that, number one, do your job. Number two, they'd rather have 11 4-stars on one side of the ball to your 1 5-star and 10 2-stars. That's how the Patriots have won. They don't care what color you are. They don't care what size you are. They care that you fit the system that they're looking to do. And they will use you and abuse you. And the NCAA is better than anybody at this. And Bill Belichick has brought it to the NFL. He doesn't care if you're a star. He does not.
You know what their system is more than anything, honestly, the Patriots system.
Here we go.
You know what their system is more than – this is dead serious. You know what their system is?
What is it?
Go look at the roster. Find out how many people in the roster are actually college graduates.
And then?
What's that mean? Yeah.
What's that mean? It means unless for certain examples of people in town or whatever, they're going to take people like you said the first thing they do is do their job, right?
Yep.
They consider that part of doing their job by actually getting their degree. Because it shows they could be dedicated to something. They literally do look at people to see if they graduated college before they'll even consider them. They literally do.
But how does that I mean, they're drafting people with 3 years out of high school.
Because it showed you could put the work in. It showed you could put the time in that you need to put outside of all the physical attributes.
Did Dion Lewis ever graduate from Pitt?
No, I don't think Lewis ever had his degree because I think he
Good
bounced
start.
too. I think he bounced too because McCoy bounced too after 2 years. He bounced.
I mean, I can see your point to an extent, but I think it boils down to this: do your job or you're gone. And the Patriots are not above anybody. Or I guess the players aren't above anybody on the Patriots. Like, if Tom Brady cannot execute, I mean, they showed Drew Bledsoe could not get the job done. So guess what? This guy named Brady steps in. He hasn't given the job back yet. And ideally, I think Tommy's talked about this before. Jimmy G was the next Tom Brady. He was, when Brady starts sucking, it's going to be, that's the way it was going to go.
Yeah. By the way, did you see that list? By the way, did you see that list? ESPN did.
Well, oh, yeah, I heard about it. I haven't seen it.
Go look at the list. That list is the biggest bunch of garbage I've ever seen.
Would you like to elaborate on it?
Get Brady at 20.
Is Brady it an active
at 20. List? No, it was the most 20 dominant years. He's been to 8 Super Bowls with not even the same team around him most of the time. And he's 20. And they put a race car driver at 4. Are you kidding me? They put Tiger Woods at 1. Tiger Woods hasn't been relevant in golf in 10 years. Are you kidding me?
Sidney Crosby did not make that list.
No, he did not. He did not. Ovechkin didn't make the list. Come on.
Ovechkin's never won a cup.
They put Manning at 3, and he was the worst playoff player I think I've ever seen.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now?
Best regular season quarterback I've ever seen, Peyton Manning is. He's the best regular season quarterback I've ever seen. Playoffs, I'll take 20 other people because I don't think he's going to get the job done with the ball's in his hands. His last Super Bowl came when he was 39 years old, broke it down, couldn't even throw because all he'd do was turn around, hand the ball off, and rely on his ball-hawking, vicious, no-fly zone defense.
Wow, you're ripping. First off, we're gonna fight next time we see each other.
I'll rip Manning. I'll rip Manning to the cows come home. I don't think he was necessarily the best teammate either. You don't have to be, but I don't think he was.
Peyton Manning?
I don't think he was the best teammate.
Get out of here with that. Get out of here. You're not gonna sit. No way. You're not gonna sit here and rip Peyton Manning. That's not gonna happen. You're gonna sit there and talk about all these players, all these dominant guys. Peyton Manning, I'm not saying that he was the best teammate, but here's what I will say. Peyton Manning is an outstanding individual. Outstanding. The Colts probably are in Los Angeles if it's not for Peyton Manning right now. Peyton Manning did a lot of that by himself.
He did. He did. And I'm not saying that he didn't or whatever. I did give him props. I said he was the best regular season quarterback I've ever seen.
But you just called him a bad teammate and one of the worst playoff because he was 39 years old with a broken neck like Kurt Angle, going out there trying to gunsling.
Neck, yes.
So, but we're gonna sit here and praise who? Like who are we gonna praise because they're a great teammate?
We're talking about the same guy. I'm not saying it was when he was 39 years old and broken and all he could do was turn around the ball. I'm saying the year they lost to the Steelers in the playoffs when the Steelers never should have been in that football game with them. Never. And he turns around and he blames everybody else but himself for all the shortcomings that happened in that game.
The kicker? Who didn't?
He blamed the line. He didn't blame the kicker. That was another time he blamed the kicker. He did do that too. But
Vanderjet comes up and he's drunk as a skunk. He was the Sebastian Janikowski before Sebastian Janikowski, and Peyton Manning calls it like he sees it. And if it's not for Mike Vanderjet missing that field goal, the Steelers probably well, they definitely don't win that Super Bowl, and they probably have a hard time winning the next one, given that, the challenges, or I guess the highs and lows that you can ride with one Super Bowl championship.
Well, even if he would have made that kick in that game, would have forced overtime.
And then the Colts go. I mean, you change history. We're not going to sit here and debate what happens if he hits that kick, but the Colts have the momentum, and you never know what happens. So at the end of the day, Peyton Manning, if you're Peyton Manning, listen, I'm not going to say blame people, but listen, I have never heard anything but great things about Peyton Manning. You're talking about the same guy who Jeff Saturday came out and was traded in the Pro Bowl just so he could get one more snap with his quarterback. That's the kind of guy that he doesn't. I'm not saying that he's not going to blame his line, or if he did or didn't, I don't know. But usually, if you blame your line, a guy like Jeff Saturday is not going to sit there and first off take it, and secondly come out and get traded in the Pro Bowl.
He did.
Listen, man, Peyton Manning is my guy. I love Peyton Manning for everything he is, and he is the ultimate in a team player. Every press conference, what happens? Never, ever, ever takes the credit. Always gives it to other people. Always.
Okay. Also, slightly off topic. This is probably going to dig at you a little, DJ. I'm watching the state semifinals for basketball. You want to know what Meadowbrook's colors are?
What is it?
Garnet and gold.
No. It's close to DJ's heart, and it's what I say is one of the ugliest color combinations on planet Earth.
Brown and orange?
Yep.
It's not close to my heart.
Thought it was.
I moved on.
Oh. Okay.
The only colors I bleed are red, white, and blue, baby.
Oh, is that going to lead to the next part of this?
What?
Brother.
That's red and gold. Red and yellow.
No, but he always had an American flag.
He did have an American flag. This will be our last topic of the day. We missed a bunch of them. But I'll tell you that, guys, that's what happens when you piss me off and talk about Peyton Manning in bad light. Don't you ever talk about Peyton Manning like ever again. I'll come down to the dungeon. I'll start throwing lotion at you and all kinds of stuff.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Oh, my gosh.
Way off topic. Guys, there are comebacks everywhere in the WWE. Number one, Undertaker, the dead man, supposedly coming back. Number two, the Yes Movement. Yes. Daniel Bryan coming back. He's cleared to wrestle. And number three, Mr. P's, who's coming back.
Let me tell you something mean, Gene. The Hulkster.
The Hulk? Hogan? Oh, I can't even wrap my head around it. He's coming back. WWE in talks with Terry Bollea to come back for WrestleMania or possibly before. Guys, I don't think he's going to wrestle. I would hope he doesn't wrestle. But what are your feelings? What are your feelings about the Hulkamaniacs coming back to WrestleMania 34?
It's a great day. It will be a great day.
I hear the tears falling on
when
your
it comes crashing down and it hurts inside. It'll be a great day when the Hulkster comes back to WWE. You know what? I'm nervous for it, though, honestly. I'm nervous for it because I love Hulk Hogan. You guys know that. Holds a special place in my heart. And I really hope that when his music hits and he does make his triumphant return, that he don't get booed.
I don't think he'll ever get – well, I don't say ever, but I don't think he'll get booed on a comeback like this. I'm worried.
Why would he get booed? Because they're in the Silverdome?
That's what I'm worried about. That's exactly what I'm worried about. He
did get booed for that. He did.
Yeah, I think people were more stunned than anything. But I am worried about Hulk Hogan making an ass of himself because he tends to do that sometimes. He's not exactly the best mic guy in the business. Never has been. And if he comes back and there's a faux pas, if you will, or a snafu, it could be a short-lived return for Mr. Hogan.
Yeah, he's gonna. I'm sure he'll be nervous too. I would imagine.
Where do you want to see him in the WWE? What do you want his role to be?
I don't know. Just be there. I just want him to be there. As
an ambassador, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the safest. But I mean, I know he's not going to be an on-screen character by no means, especially, with everything that went on over the past couple of years. But I mean, I do think, an ambassador of WWE and somebody who, makes special appearances from time to time. And I don't know, possibly, I mean, what about a general manager? What do you think about Hulk Hogan as a general manager?
That was my you're fitting right into where I'm looking at. Daniel Bryan.
Ooh, we calling something here?
Sent out the group text about the band. What did you say, Bandito?
He said, "Are you calling something here?"
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that part. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's you called it. I mean, you called the I guess you called the GM role. You called him going, with Brian coming back to wrestle with Shane O'Mac. You're looking at probably Owens and Zayn versus Shane O'Mac and Brian. That leaves a role to be filled, I guess, on SmackDown. You think Hulk Hogan comes back to SmackDown as the GM or the commissioner of Tuesday nights?
It would be.
He's not going to be
amazing.
He's not going to be the commissioner because he's not a McMahon.
You never know.
Him and Vinnie Mac are boys. I'm telling you, they're still boys.
I think it'd be fantastic. I think to elevate him a little bit over Daniel Bryan would be cool. And let him be the commissioner or GMs are such a joke in the WWE because they have typically no power because you always, like you said, Squeaks, you always put a McMahon over top of them to oversee it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think give Hulk a little bit of a little push. Let him do it. Be co-commissioners, he and Shane O'Mac. And then you can have the wrestlers versus the McMahons again, the Authority, but make it a way better storyline than Stephanie and Triple H. And then go with it.
Yeah, but even the commissioners are kind of a joke, even though they're McMahons, because anytime they screw up rolling, the chairman comes out.
Well, that's true too. Just a power struggle. But I'll tell you something, brother. If there's a power struggle and you got all the Hulkamaniacs training, saying their prayers, eating their vitamins, there's nobody, and I mean nobody, that's going to be able to stop these Hulkamaniacs.
You know what my favorite Hulk Hogan line ever is?
What?
You know what my favorite Hogan line is? It doesn't work for me, brother. It's WCW days. It doesn't work for me, brother.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, that's a wrap on episode 36. Let's put one jersey to the rafters, boys, real quick. What do you got?
Well, I mean, I'm a Steeler fan. You're a Steeler fan. I mean, it's got to be the bus for me. Jerome Bettis.
Jerome Bettis goes to the rafters. Squeaks, what do you got?
Not a lot of 36 to pick from here. This is kind of a soft one, but I'll do it anyway. He wore number 36, played for the San Francisco 49ers, had the longest neck in the NFL history, I think. The hanky-panky Mr. Merton Hanks.
You stole it. You stole my guy.
Are you serious? You both were going to put Merton Hanks or whatever the heck his name is in
a lot of 36s, man.
I knew you were going to go for...
Why don't you put Shaq to the rafters for the 5th time?
Wow, listen to you. Why don't you make fun of Peyton Manning for not being the best quarterback of all time? Tough guy.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna bow down to you guys. I knew Bettis was gonna go to the Raptors. Merton Hanks was my second pick. So guess what? I don't have anybody. So I'm taking Shaq. Sometime you probably wore 36. Let's take him to the roof. There he is.
For the Celtics.
I was gonna say, Shaq, you're going back to the Raptors, but
wait a minute. Shaq played for the Celtics?
Yeah,
his last year. He could.
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
Yeah, he did. Well, well.
That's a wrap on episode 36 of the Breakfast Burrito, boys. It's a great day.
Make it yours.